the whole torso to rest on the shoulder sockets, right? Kind of like this, and to curve the back to balance the weight on the front and on the back. This one might be easier at the beginning to get into this method, because you are working with the idea of compensating. You see how the chest is going like that, and you see how like arch I am, and then the whole thing is resting on the shoulder sockets. But, well, first of all, the shoulder sockets are meant to do something totally different than to support weight. So sooner or later that is going to create some problem. And then the whole thing from the yoga perspective is diminish conflict, friction, and it's all about expansion. And it's all about like feeling more and more comfortable and being able to expand more and more and more and more. So it's the whole principle that we're talking about right now. It's just lengthening more and more and more and more and more and more instead of like dropping there. And this one at the beginning might be harder to get. But if you get this one, because you get it from the principle, then any other variation doesn't make any difference. It's just like, if at the beginning it might be harder, but if you realize this one from this method of expansion, then the variations, it just doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want with your legs. You can do whatever you want with the torso, because you have the control is from the principles. You see? This is letting the torso resting on the armpits, shoulder sockets, and this is the opposite, expansion. And in this one is when you feel like really, really comfortable and light. And this is equal to the principles of the first inversion. And the first inversion is the down dog. See? And remember, they think of like the head on the floor. It's a result, but it's not the goal. Okay, you might just stay here, but the important thing is that you really are creating that space there, especially on the shoulders. Look at the difference. You see? In this one, you really have to create that space. Why? Because you're pulling from here. So if you're pulling from here, you're lengthening. So instead of like bringing like an artificial boundary to that, you just keep lengthening, and that's going to take you up, up, up with no limit. You're going to stay there like minutes, and you don't feel the weight because you are always going, expanding into one direction instead of thinking like, oh, I have to stay here and hold. Okay, so for that sake, the best is to use the wall. So many things. The first thing is like always go over the principles. The second one is like always do down dog before trying to go up, to find the body, the principles. Okay? Don't just throw yourself there, because immediately the body has a tendency of dropping down. Now try to do the variation very close to the wall. If you are far from the wall, immediately that's going to create the kind of like out of alignment. You see? By being so close to the wall, that helps you already to be like in a straight line. And then use the center. Remember, it's not even from the hands, it's the center. Look, the center lifting you up. And of course the arms will start to press. Now the feet together. So then there is the consciousness of one line. If you keep it like this, it's like one line becoming two lines, or one. Looking up, and then keep doing that, keep lengthening, and at some point you're going to have to use your fingertips to start continuing with the consciousness of lengthening. And from the fingertips, at some point you're going to start finding the balance. You see, all is coming out from the base, from the fingertips into the center, instead of using the legs. If you use the legs, this is the tendency. You might think that it's easier to do this, and as a matter of fact it might be easier, but then you won't be able, the body won't be able to realize the center. Okay, just go like from here, look, lengthening, and now fingertips, and then you start to find the balance coming from the base. It's like when the baby is learning to find the balance, it's instead of trying to find the balance from the center, start to find the balance from the head. Right? So if you try to find the balance from your legs, maybe by At some point you're going to find the balance, but you won't be able to control. And the whole thing is, what is the consciousness of this pose? One line. So if you bring your legs apart, that is really an obstacle from the consciousness of the pose. And then remember, it's not about the strength. Now is when you have to recall this exercise. Never bend the arms. Rule number 1. Create the center to create firmness there. And then if you don't know how to jump to the wall yet, then you have to use the thing with the sphere. Don't try to come up. If you lose the consciousness of the shoulders, look what happened. See? So you have to keep this one. At the beginning it's harder, but really stay really long and just keep playing with the sphere, the circle on your leg. At some point, by improving that, you're going to start finding the vertical, or in this case, the wall. Okay, so let's try it. How do you think we can use this as a wall?
Yeah.